All right, welcome to another podcast session. Thank you for joining all of the viewers to this new marketing podcast session. Today, we have an eminent personality with us. He is Mr. Ashish Bharadawaj. Um, okay, thank you for being here, sir. Briefing about your profile and all. Firstly, our marketing podcast theme is how to start and sustain a career. So when moving towards our second year, hopefully this is going to be a beneficial podcast session for all the marketing students. I have with me Vaibhavi and Janvi with a set of questions. I hope we are all will be having a beneficial session. Thank you. Over to you.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hi, good afternoon.
Very good afternoon, sir. I hope you're just as excited as us to hear.
Oh, absolutely excited. I just wish it was in person, but past 2 years has taught us very well how to look at a screen and communicate. So yes,
The
absolutely.
new normal, I guess.
Yeah.
So my first question is going to be a starter for and this I think is a question for a lot of us. Like we see a lot of competition in the industry with the growing advancement in technology and students coming up, and there is an innovation in every day. There's something new coming up. So in your career, how do you deal with those advancements and that competition?
You're Janvi, right? Yeah, it's a very good question. I talk about this with young college grads who join us, right? Uh, Earlier, when anyone started the career, right? And I'm talking about uh, times when my parents were, starting their career. Career was one-way journey. You buy one ticket from maybe Delhi to Bangalore on a Rajdhani train. You get in, you know your destination where you are going to, and maybe there are scheduled stops where you would get down, pick up a bottle of water, maybe a couple of samosas, but you know where you have to be, right? Life has changed, right? And for you guys, it has changed completely. I'm talking about the time when I graduated, which was good 20 years back, right? Uh, you would recall US was hit by two planes. A famous building called World Trade Center had come down crashing, and it led to a very bad situation, right? People who were aspiring to get into a profession with the set guidelines, right? There would be campus interviews, you would get into a company and build a career. All of that changed, right? And this has, over a period of time, with advent of technology, internet, it has changed absolutely in a different manner, right? Career is now like buying an open ticket on a premium airline, right? You don't know the final destination. Where are you headed to? You don't know the dates, which date you would start, right? And you play along, right? Every day comes up with a new challenge. 10 years back, 15 years back, when we were, aspiring professionals, no one thought that there would be something called startup, which would be coming every other day, right? You would have a startup becoming a unicorn every other day, right? And today, many of my batchmates, they are running their own organization. So, life has completely changed. My advice to any one of you, right? Um, Focus on competencies which your great institution is teaching you, because if you are picking those competencies correctly, right? If you are ingraining that into you, career would be yours. Maybe some of you would become a top-notch executive in a company. Someone would run your own startup. Someone else would be following a passion completely different from what you have studied. But focus on the competencies. That is what will take you to the next level.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. So, and my next question for you is, what is the typical career path for someone in your profession? Like,
Oh, Vaibhavi, that's a wonderful question, right? Again, building on the same point which I was making, maybe 20 years back, you join as HR executive, HR officer, HR
a very
administrator, whatever, right? And then you become a mid-level HR professional, and then maybe become a CHR. World has
and
again
then
changed,
director.
right? I was giving example of my friends who are running their startups. My boss, no one would have maybe 10 years back thought that an HR professional would be heading the operations for South Asia in a technology company. He heads the operations now. So life has changed, right? Unlimited possibilities. It is all on you how you take it forward, right? I have gone through stark transitions. In this organization, I have been there for now 13 years. I have done whatever is possible under HR umbrella, right? You think about business HR, you think about learning and development, mergers and acquisitions, compensation and benefit, staffing, unlimited possibilities. It is what is that you will get driven by, and the world is going to be yours. So don't think that there is a set path. Just play along, pick up the right opportunity, and build yourself there.
Sure, sir.
Yeah?
So my follow-up question would be from your answer. I had a different question, but right now I'm eager to ask you that question. How did you go from a HR to a head of operations?
No, I have not. I am not heading operations. My boss is heading the
Oh,
operation,
no, I know. Okay,
and
fair.
he is like one role model for many of us. But it is again, as I mentioned, it is about getting into thick of things, right? Uh, till unless you start scratching the surface and get deeper into things, you will not get an understanding and evolve, right? Be it the example of my boss or anybody else for that matter, right? Unless you are getting deep into it, right? Unless you're trying to understand nuances, and I'm sorry about the background noise. My daughter entered the room and she wants something. Perils of being at home, right? So yeah, get into thick of things. Get into thick of things. Staff transitions are always possible. People move from marketing to HR, from HR to operations. You have example of Mohandas Pai, right, who used to be the CFO of Infosys. Then he became HR leader of Infosys. Right? There are so many such examples, and the only thing is you dig deeper. You whatever topic you have picked up, get into the nuances of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, my next question is, which factors do you consider before making an important decision? Like you're in HR, so acquiring people, then laying them off, these are very difficult decisions to make. So if you make one mistake, you might lose out on a great potential candidate. So how do you make these decisions? On what basis? Like, and how scared are you making those decisions?
Again, you need to be spontaneous because each and every situation would be different, right? But as I said, getting into details, right? Uh, 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 Getting sufficient information about each and every case, evaluating the potential pitfalls, right? There can't be a perfect situation ever, right? There can't be a perfect solution to any situation. So your ability to take an informed risk, right? That, okay, I am taking a risk, but evaluate and take the plunge. That's how it works. It could be about your professional life. It could be about your personal life, right? You will never find a perfect solution for any situation.
Okay, sir. So as we are moving towards our placement, so my question for you is like, what kind of questions we can expect from HR during our placements?
Other than tell me something about yourself, there are various things people look at, right? Tell me about yourself is a good segue, right, into the discussion. People start building onto it. But See, the point is that no two people would have similar way of evaluating individuals. What I look into is the core values of the individual and how she or he has, acted against a particular situation while sticking to the core values, right? And maybe you can do a bit of research on behavioral interviewing. That is something which comes in very, very handy, right? Because past performance is the best indicator of how the person would deal with a situation in future. I rely very, very heavily on that, right? So, uh, core value systems and how the person has stuck to the value system and still delivered in different scenarios. That is what I focus on, but no set pattern of questions, right? I remember I was early on in my career, right? I was interviewing at IIT Guwahati. I am a non-engineer and uh, evaluating best brains, right? And one of the candidates told me that, sir, I find your style of interviewing a bit different because otherwise, uh, after fourth interview, people candidates get to know that this would be the sequence, right? First question, this, second question, this. I think people are evolving and the way interviews are being done. So where were we? To your question, no set pattern. Two people would have
Some kind of
absolutely
question.
different style, but stick to your value system and talk about how you have grown in your life and using those value systems.
Okay, sir.
Sir, since we're talking about how in career we can develop, so it is important to keep a bias-free approach, and sometimes it gets difficult. What is your take on that?
Janvi, if someone says I am absolutely bias free, that person is lying. Everyone has biases, right? I have two daughters. Uh, I have biases. Both of them are like so lovely and, they're everything to me, but I have my biases. Uh, so zero bias is just not a possibility. Anyone who says that I have zero bias is lying, right? However, uh, how do you control your emotions, right? Mastering that is going to help you in reducing biases, not eliminating it. It is just not possible. It is just not possible. But mastering your emotion is very important, and that will help you in being uh, being your usual self, but even then, not differentiate two people too starkly.
Thanks.
Okay, sir. And my next question for you is like, does career growth affect only professionally, or does it have an impact even in the personal life of an individual?
Okay, now this question is you might want to be a bit more specific. Otherwise, career growth. If you don't grow in career, it will impact you personally, right?
Personally
But
also.
what is that you actually want to understand, right? There are people who get into the Zen mode, right? That I'm happy with what I am at right now. There are people who are highly motivated to scale new peaks every day. So different people, different situations they might be, but again, if you are not growing, then it will have impact on your personal life, is what I feel. Uh, but you draw your lines, right? That okay, I'll give you one example, right? Uh, there are people, right, who would say who would have multiple opportunities if they moved out of their current location, right? But they'll draw lines saying that okay, I'm okay at this level of my career. I am having a decent life, and I don't want to disrupt. Right? Those decisions you make, but otherwise, yes, everyone should aspire to grow. You should not be happy with what you're doing.
Whatever you are at the.
Keep challenging yourself.
Yeah.
Keep challenging yourself.
Sir, now that all of us are going to take up different roles, maybe in an organization or maybe someplace else. So what skills would you suggest for all of us to help in our growth?
Not the right person to advise marketing people on the skills. I was talking to a friend, and he was telling me that there's so many new things which are coming up. But I think, you know, the core doesn't change, right? The core for any function doesn't change. Maybe you have digital marketing, social media marketing, I don't know what not, branding and so on and so forth. But the core doesn't change. Get a mastery on the core, and the rest of it, today internet has enabled us significantly, right?
Yes.
And identify a mentor. Identify a mentor. It can be anyone. It can be your relatives. It can be a college senior. It could be a friend. Identify a mentor whom you can trust, and go with their guidance.
Oh, sure, sir. So, and I would like to know, as you are in this corporate world from past 20 years, so how do you deal with the increasing competition in the industry? As very new generation is more equipped with the earlier ones. So how do you deal with the new?
Yeah, act as if you know better than others. Get good at acting. That was on the lighter side. I think it is about keeping yourself up, updated, right? Acquiring new skills, things which I studied in my college. If I had stuck to that, in my college for IT computers, they used to teach Foxtran or something like that. I don't even hear that any longer. I don't know if you guys even know about it, right? It is about keeping yourself updated. There is no way we will be able to compete with smart people like you guys, right, who are coming out of the college and going to beat the shit out of everyone, right? But keeping yourself updated, that helps. My daughter, younger one, she's 10 years, and she knows so many things, right? I used to think I am very good with technology, right? Always with high-end gadgets and whatever is the newest launch in the market, I would have that. And she comes to me and shows tricks on iPhone that, oh, you don't know this. This is very simple. I'm like, the girl, go focus on your studies. Don't try to teach me iPhone tricks. So yes, uh, uh, keeping one self updated is something which is very important. Read a lot and read variety of things, right? Newspaper, magazines, books, right? Internet, read a lot there as well. Don't focus only on the Instagram reels and TikToks and all that, right?
So,
By the
any
way,
book
they
that you would
also
like to
teach you
suggest?
at times. There are tricks which keep coming on reels as well, but otherwise, yes, reading a lot is important.
So, any book that you would like to suggest all of
I am
us?
not a book guy, where were we? But one book which I love is by Marshall Goldsmith. What has got you here will not take you there. I can pass it on to you guys, and that is a wonderful book. It will, help you in rediscovering yourself, right? Redefining your charter moving forward.
So, since we're talking on the lines of how we can move ahead in dealing with competition, so what do you think are the opportunities for professional growth in any industry? And as we're venturing ahead, this it's very important to capture those coming opportunities and be aware of the threats. So, what do you think are some of the opportunities now?
You should ask this question someone who is like at least 10, 15 years younger to me, who would be more updated. But opportunities are abound. There's every other day there is a new idea which is coming up. I'm sure you would have followed a bit of Shark Tank, right? The series which came up, right? I was so amazed at some of the ideas which people came up with, right? I could have never thought about some of those, right? So there are so many new things coming up. keeping yourself, updated, knowing, keeping your eyes and ears open, looking around. I think you will learn a new thing maybe every other day. I don't want to put a lid on saying that you should be doing XYZ things. Just keep your eyes and ears open. Be observant when you are interacting with people. What is that they have to say? You will learn new skills.
So observation is the key here.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So how do you keep your team motivated despite of conflicts and obstacles?
They keep me motivated. They keep me motivated. We keep gunning for new things. You know, in past couple of years, things have changed so much, right? In our organization, we would be at the best hire 500 odd people in a very good year. We have in past few quarters, we have hired more than 700, 800 people quarter on quarter, right? It is because of the commitment to the larger goal, right? Our leadership is excellent, right? Corporate leadership and South Asia leadership. The way they connect the dots, the way they show us the larger picture, that helps us being challenged and going in with all guns blazing. Otherwise, yes, a couple of things. Having a emotive connect with people, right? It's not only about work which you should be focused up, around. You should be having a connection at the emotional level as well, right? Because when your team members feel that you are there with them in their good bad times, then they would walk that extra mile, right? Engagement is key. An engaged employee is 20% more effective. That's a very popular theory, right? And think about it. You have 5 engaged employee. You will be getting 1 additional employee's effort from those 5 only. And how do you build engagement? Building engagement is very simple. Showing them what is it for me here, right? Right. Because the relationship between organization and individual is for a couple of reasons, right? One is professional fulfillment. Number 2 is the growth, right? Monetary growth included. And if you are able to get that connection right, right, for your team members, when they understand what is it there for them, they give their 100% and more.
So when you're making any decisions, since we talked about how you make those important decisions, if there is a chance, like if some of your decision backfires, or maybe if you fail, if you see something going wrong, how do you deal with those?
See, again, I have been with this organization for long, and I keep talking about the way this organization helps. But otherwise, at personal level also, that ability to ability to absorb failures, right, is very, very important. Our organization promotes risk taking, right? Unless you are like organization repute gets questioned, organization promotes risk taking, and it also promotes failure, because failure can lead you to the next big thing, right? All of you would have heard about the sticky notes which 3M came up with, right? They were trying to make a super glue which would be instant success, and they ended up building something which is
Completely
such a
different.
big thing in today's world, right? You paste it somewhere, you pick it up, paste it somewhere else, right? So promote failures. To your question, how do I deal with it? I see it as an opportunity. Learn from whatever mistakes led to failure, and build upon that, right? Take corrective action.
So I think the approach the knowledge that you've given us to take failures as an opportunity to learn is something that is very important for our generation. On that note,
Yeah. And so I would like to ask, like, how do you keep yourself motivated as a job might become monotonous after some point of time? So, like, what is the key factor of motivation for you?
I, as a person, I have a varied interest, right? But I do pretty much everything possible. But I'll give you example when pandemic started, right? All of a sudden, world had changed. Things which we never thought would work, right? We were forced in that situation, not stepping out of the house, sitting in front of computer, no maids, no cooks, no driver, right? And you were working pretty much from your bedroom, right? You get up and you start working, and that is when I took up cycling, right? And uh, that gave me lots of opportunity to vent out the frustration which otherwise keeps getting built, right? So developing a hobby, right? A passion which is beyond your work will get you more connected to work, because when you are able to, you know, get into something where you're not thinking about your job, you're doing those uh, uh, 100 milers, and after that you come back, take rest, then you are absolutely refreshed, re-energized, to get back to work. So yeah, develop a good hobby, and when you're into that, don't think about work.
so when you talk about not thinking about work, like how do you maintain a work-life balance, especially now that we have a work from home culture coming in? So how do you maintain that work-life balance and differentiation? Keep this is my working hours, and after this, it's only for my personal life.
There's nothing called working hour, Janvi. I have been encouraging my team members to start coming to office, because that will at least give you that window when you are not working, you are driving, you are getting driven around, or in the public commute, etc. But otherwise, what has been happening for past 2.5 years is that you get up, your laptop is at the best 50 steps away, right? And you're like, let me answer that important email. And maybe 5 minutes before you actually sleep, you are still in that mode that let me check if there is something which is important. So work-life balance, how do you build it, right? One is, uh, as I mentioned, develop a hobby and disconnect yourself from the work, right? Spend time with your family, right? For people of my age, parents and children both included, and spouse, of course. For people your age, spending time with friends, parents, very, very important, right? And with that, I think you get that mental uh, uh,
Strength.
strength to continue. Right. Last year, it was so difficult, right? We are in HR, and when Delta wave was having its maximum impact, right? We were getting pretty impacted, because every other call was for help for someone who was not getting a bed, was dealing with oxygen shortage, etc. Right? Uh, in the Some of us started getting impacted because of that, right? Because you are constantly dealing with misery, sorrow all around you, right? Uh, that is where I felt that going and sitting in daughter's room and uh, just spending half an hour uh, talking to them about what is going around, right? Talking to them about their homework, talking to them homework kya ghar mein hi, everything was happening at home, but what is the coursework and all that, right? So your ability to disconnect, that is something which you need to build upon, and it is true everywhere, right? Ability to disconnect from your addictions of mobile phone or whatever, ability to pursue a hobby, ability to find new friends, ability to develop new skills. So we need to work on that.
Okay, sir. So our last question is like, what projects or extra courses or responsibilities you would like to suggest all of us to excel in our corporate life?
Don't do any project which will just sit as a title on your resume, right? Do something which is of interest to you and which wherein you are trying to tackle a real issue, right? There are fancy things which you would hear every other day, right? Some of it I don't even connect with, right? But doing that fancy thing, is that important, or doing something which will help you in solving a real life problem, right? You guys are marketing people. We talked about evolving world around us, right? Technology changing. But whatever project you do, will you be able to solve a real life problem which is existing right now, right? Don't think that, oh, this project of 6 weeks, I am going to solve a problem which would come 50 years later. Don't do that. Try to focus on something which is there right now. That is something which will add lots of value.
Okay, sir.
So thank you, sir. These
Thank
were
you,
our
sir.
questions. So we'd like Parvati to take over.
Yeah.
All right. To our most valued guest, Mr. Ashish Bharadawaj, who holds a position as a director, staffing and compensation domain at Synopsys South Asia. To our faculty coordinator, Dr. Rupesh Kumar M., Associate Professor, School of Business and Management, Christ University. All of the POCs of Marketing Podcast, MCs, and to the vibrant listeners. Myself, Parvati Supash, who's a POC of podcast team, feels immense pleasure and privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks. A big thank you to Mr. Ashish for your time and thoughts towards the theme of the session, how to start and sustain a career. And these thoughts are definitely going to encourage us in future for sure. Special thanks to our venerable faculty coordinator, Dr. Rupesh Kumar sir, for inspiring us and helping us to make this session successful. Deep sense of appreciation to all of the POCs and MCs for being part of this podcast session. Also, our sincere gratitude to all of the listeners for being part of this podcast session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.